Hi, I'm Riley Green. Blast off to the music universe.
Hello, everybody.
And happy Thanksgiving. And I got a lot, I think, that we're thankful for, right?
Oh, yeah. We've got some friends in low places and excited that we're going to end Thanksgiving, I should say, in the fall here in Nashville, inside of Garth's brand new honky tonk, Friends in Low Places, right here on Broadway.
It's been the gentleman that we got coming up in just a little bit. We've chatted with about 3 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've asked about 3 times 3. We've asked about 9 questions. So in the 3 times we've done a full length, interview with this guy. It's really cool. Of course, the Big Circle G. Oh nope, it's down there. The Big Circle G behind. Oh, I'm getting thwarted. There's
got the bar logo behind us.
We got the bar logo behind us. We'll be talking to our friend in Low Place in just a minute. But first, you got to interview Riley Green.
I did. Back in October, he released a new album this fall, and I got to chat with him just a month or so ago by the time this airs. And we never had a chance to, do our rap because we've just been traveling. So we figured, why not make it a Nashville country-centric episode
and
live from Nashville. So without further ado, just here's my interview with Riley Green. Riley Green, welcome to the Music Universe. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Not too bad myself. And you're doing mighty fine here. You got a new album, Ain't My Last Rodeo, just came out. Tell us what inspired the album's title and the project as a whole.
Well, the titles after the title track, My Last Rodeo, that a song I wrote about my granddaddy Buford, and something he told me before he passed away back in 2010. So I didn't write this song until just here recently. So it was one of the last songs to make the album, but I thought the sentiment of it kind of embodied the traditional country music sound that I think we were going for with this record. And also it's been a while since we put an album out, so it's always nice to remind fans that you're writing constantly and that you got new music, and it's great to have new music to play at shows.
Yeah, and you mentioned the traditional country sound, and I commend you for doing that because I like the traditional more than the poppy stuff myself. What inspires you to put that kind of music out in this world of the pop oriented country?
Well, it's really just it's just the kind of music that I grew up listening to. I think a lot of my early influences were from my granddaddy, and it was Merle Haggard and George Jones, and I think that probably comes out in a lot of my writing. It's just kind of the music that I listen to, and what I tend to write is a lot more in that kind of traditional sound, I think.
You mentioned inspired by your granddad, so it was more inspired by your everyday life than it has been on the road, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I don't consider my life on the road as much real life as it is back home on the farm, and kind of how I grew up. And that's one reason that I tend to go back there as often as I can, is it's not a whole lot changes there. Life moves a little bit slower, and it's a lot easier to find those same inspirations that I kind of found when I was starting out writing songs early in my career.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, you're from Alabama. What part?
Northeast Alabama, a little town called Jacksonville.
Okay. And did you get to go to Nashville a lot before you got signed and stuff? I mean, I know Alabama's not that far.
The only time I've been to Nashville before I signed a record deal was going through it when I was going up north somewhere to deer hunt or turkey hunt. I really didn't spend any time here. I'd never co-written or anything like that. It was kind of when record labels started to come to shows, down the Southeast that I was playing. It was really a fast track to a record deal and a publishing deal, and then immediately on radio tour and on the road. So I didn't spend a lot of time in town, no.
Yeah. So you kind of had it. You mentioned they came to you, where it's, from my understanding, that used to be the way it was, years and years ago, and now it's kind of like you have to be based in Nashville. Are you finding it, I guess, easier to kind of be based in your hometown these days, and then get signed and become a superstar?
I certainly did it a little backwards, I think. But I don't. It's really necessary that I spend most of my time back home. There's obviously a lot of opportunity in Nashville, a lot of great songwriters, a lot of great relationships, and it's it's very helpful to have a place here and spend a little time here. But I think that from a creative side and especially writing, having somewhere that's a lot more relatable to my fans, which is small town life and spending time with my family and spend time on the farm. So I think that's one reason I keep that place back home.
Yeah, I love Nashville. I lived there for a couple years and out in California now, but I come back every once in a while to cover events, and it feels like home.
Yeah, yeah, it's a cool spot. There's a lot going on for sure.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about different round here. You originally released it on your debut album. Now you've got a new version with Luke Combs. How did that come about?
Well, it was a very popular song with my fans from when it came out on the first album, and it not being a single at country radio, I don't know, I didn't think it got the attention that it really deserved. That song's got a lot of meaning and really seemed to mean a lot to a lot of people. So when we started talking about making it the next single, I just reached out to Luke and asked if he wanted to be a part of it. Obviously, we had a stadium tour together this year, so the timing of it, worked out really well. And was really fortunate that he dug the song and wanted to be on it. I think it's kind of gave it a new life and definitely exciting hearing it played on the radio and seeing the reaction and the crowd singing it even louder every week.
Yeah, it's climbing the top 25. So do you guys get to actually perform it together on the stadium tour?
We didn't. I went out with Luke and I was doing Eric Church's part of a song called "Does to Me" during his set with him, and so it was really tough for me because I would love to go out with Luke and do that song during his set, but I hate to take a song like that out of my set. Me as an opener, I've got a 45-minute slot and I don't have quite as many hits as he does. So it's nice to keep that song in my set. So maybe down the road we'll get to perform it together.
Yeah. And you're actually going out on the road, your own headlining tour, also called Ain't My Last Rodeo, amphitheaters next year. Tracy Lawrence and Ella Langley are joining you. Tell us about that track.
Well, Tracy Lawrence is obviously a legendary '90s country music artist, and I grew up listening to him and was very excited that he would even entertain the thought of coming out with me, and really excited about seeing that show and seeing some of my even younger demographic that might be discovering Tracy for the first time, which is really cool for me to think about. And Ella's a up and comer from Alabama that I've done several shows with, really talented and definitely has that traditional country sound as well. So I think it'll be a good tour.
Yeah. And are you going to play most of the new album, or do you have a set list put together yet? What can fans expect when they come out to those tour dates?
Well, I really let fans kind of uh, dictate my set list quite a bit. It'll be one of those things where when I start seeing these songs and how fans are reacting to them and which ones are, they're singing the loudest at shows, they'll definitely have a spot in the set list. And I have a hard time getting away from some of these older songs that have always been favorites with my fans from even before signing the deal. So it's set list is always subject to change, and I'm liable to write a song next week that I fall in love with and want to throw it in there. So I'm constantly trying out new songs, and definitely will be putting a lot of songs off this new record into the set next year.
Yeah, that's what I love about live shows. I just saw Megan Maroney in Bakersfield over the weekend, and she performed a song that hadn't even been recorded. So I love when artists can just write something, whether it's been written or on the road, and they go out and perform it, and the crowd just eats it up.
Yeah, very cool. One of my favorite things about playing live shows and what was so tough for me during 2020 and not having shows was not being able to bounce songs off of a live audience.
So you recently just celebrated the album release with a show in Walk of Fame Park in Nashville. Why was that the place to have the show? Because that's a unique setting, but I love the area.
Uh, well, it's tough to get all of our Nashville uh, team and friends and crew all in the same spot to kind of celebrate all the hard work of everybody to put this album together. So, Walk of Fame Park was just a great opportunity for us to kind of all get together and appreciate the fact that we're done and it's out, and also share it with the fans as well.
Yeah, and that was a benefit show. I love that you're supporting the troops, the Buford Bonds Charitable Fund. Tell us about that.
Buford Bonds is named after my two granddaddies, and it's just a way for us to start taking a little bit of some ticket sales and some from this tour, and obviously that first album release show, and put it into this foundation, and hopefully find some causes over the year that we kind of feel strongly about, and we want to be able to give back in some way. It's obviously a cool way to make a living is playing country music, so it's nice to be able to find a way to piggyback off that and kind of give back.
Yeah, and if correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you just raise over $50,000 from that album release show for it?
We did, yeah. So that was a icing on the cake from a fun night of enjoying the album.
Yeah, and just people flocking. I mean, Nashville, there's music everywhere, obviously, and I know it's grown in the last decade plus with just more clubs and multi-level entertainment complexes that just have music coming out everywhere, and to have a concert right there in the middle, kind of behind that, in the middle of all that, outside the Country Music Hall of Fame, had to be kind of extra special, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know that I've played a show in town quite like that, so it was a cool experience and something that I don't know that we'll get to do again. So I'm glad we got to have that, and it actually turned out great. All the fans really enjoyed themselves, it seemed like.
Yeah. And to kind of turn it here for a second, you're an underwear model.
That's quite the turn. Yeah, we were discussing that partnership, and Gildan was really great to work with. It was maybe out of my comfort zone a little bit, but turned out great, and it's definitely been the talk of most interviews that I've done in the last several months. So I guess I'm getting used to the fact now.
I'm sure the girls don't mind the uncomfortableness, do they?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's my future. I think that was a one-time deal, but we'll see.
Well, awesome. And another interesting aspect that you have, your new dog Carl. He's becoming quite the Instagram model, I guess.
Yeah, he might be the next underwear model in the bunch. He's become very popular on social media and at all my shows. There's Carl merch floating around and signs in the crowd every night. So he's got his own thing going on for sure.
How did that come about? Because I have several pets, and I've tried to just do an Instagram of them, and it does okay, I guess, whenever I'm active with it. But do you just pose? I haven't seen it personally, but do you just pose him in different situations? I mean, what's the inspiration to get him, those followers?
Yeah, I'll have to ask him what his method was. I don't know what he was doing. I've just had him out on the road and out on the farm, and he's just I think he's kind of an odd looking dog. He's just like no legs and all ears, and he's got kind of a unique personality. So he was just popular from the get go. Well, I didn't have any big strategy. I just made him a little page and would post something about him every once in a while, and it really took off.
Well, I'm reading he's becoming one of the most popular corgis in Alabama. So I guess you're a proud pet parent there.
I would like give him the key to the city or something. That's interesting. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah. Will he be on the road with you this next tour?
I would think so. Yeah, he's a good bus dog. He's a good size for that, and he's pretty laid back. So I couldn't never take my lab. I've got a yellow lab named Jazz, and she's way too rambunctious for the bus. But Carl, he's got a little more lay around in him. So I think he'll make the trip on several of these shows.
Yeah, I saw over the weekend Carly Pierce brought one of her two little dogs out, and he was scared. Does he ever make stage appearances?
He did once, and obviously the crowd went insane, and I think he was a little like shaken up by it, but it hasn't bothered him now. He runs up on stage when we're doing sound check and all that, so I think he's getting used to it.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, Riley, I appreciate you joining me. Anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to add?
No, I think that's great, man. I appreciate you taking time.
And of course, the man who needs no introduction, talking about everything from new music to when we can expect that Ireland special, to the bar, to Trisha's restaurant in the bar. We got some good time with him. Plus, I got to ask a question in the press conference about how involved he has been. Because the thing about Nashville bars, as you know, is oftentimes they're license deals.
Right.
So Garth didn't want to do it like that. So first, here's the press conference question, then we'll go right into our one-on-one. Very thankful to get to talk to him, Mr. Garth Brooks. Hey, Garth, it's Matt with the Music Universe. You have been so hands-on with this bar. You told us just a few minutes ago you're here every day. Can you talk about, I know you've probably been approached with license opportunities, different things to do, to put your name on different establishments. Can you talk about the decision to be hands-on here at the bar and how involved you have been in this process?
Yeah, so let's start with the first thing. How many people remember Paradise Park when you came in here? Okay, you know. So when you walk in the door right there, there's the mullet wall. Remember the mullet wall? Had all the pictures of the guys with mullets on it. They had stairwell, they had an elevator right there. And immediately when you came in, you just kind of stopped. They had the old green El Camino over here, a bar along that wall, but it immediately bottlenecked. And so my thing is, as a honky-tonk from Oklahoma, it was usually somebody's old hay barn or something. You'd walk in and it was just as far as you could see, open. It had bars either at the end along the walls, dance floor right out in the middle. And the stage was originally supposed to be on the back wall, but when they laid it out, it worked so much better here for everything. Also, it allowed them, the brothers wanted to take half the second floor out. I said, are you crazy? But what it did was it made the first and second floor now a multi-level honky-tonk. Now it's one room. Brilliant idea for me, because I'll tell you this, I like being in the fray, so I want to be right here. But the truth is, the best seat in the house is right up here along the wall. So it's cool. It kind of opens it up for people who want to be in the fray, or people that want to just, I don't know, be a voyeur or more watch the fray kind of thing up there. So I enjoy that. And so these things just, they kind of come under your watch. And whether, okay, so let's take guys I love like Dirks, Blake. They're going to do license deals, but if something happens at their bar, they're the ones that everybody talks about. So if something's going to go in your bar, know what's going on in here, right? And so you surround yourself with people. I couldn't do this. There's no way I could do this. I play music. That's what I do. But you surround yourself with people, hopefully, that know this town, know Lower Broad, and then our job is to make this place better. The Steve Wynn philosophy, okay? Not to get a bigger slice of the pie, but to make the entire pie bigger. So anytime we talk, anytime we do an interview, we're part of the neon neighborhood down here. Invite everybody to Lower Broad. Layla's is right across the street, one of my dearest friends. Love Layla. Tootsie's, you don't get more traditional than that. And like I said, we got Nudies next door, Ernest Tubbs under construction. We're part of this neighborhood down here. So we just want to help it out. And hopefully, it's like, how many people were here, don't say it, that many years ago? How many people were here when I got here to the business? Okay, well, Garth Brooks being in this business, was it a good thing, was it a bad thing? We'll only know 60 years from now, right? So I want this to be a good thing for Lower Broadway, but we'll only know after it's, after a while. My favorite part of this bar is what's right next door. The police substation goes in there, and they work a little, government works a little slower than the private sector does, so we're a little bit behind over there. But we're pushing, trying to get, because the sooner that thing opens, I think the sooner everything down here is going to get even better.
Well, we are back here for the third time this year, standing next to this guy. We did
three stations?
Vegas.
Yep.
We did
that's right,
615.
Yep.
And now we're here.
And now we're here. So, lots of stuff to talk about. Time Traveler, I wrote it in our review. It's not blowing smoke. The best album of your comeback, and
you're very
top
sweet.
tier in the career.
Oh, thank you.
It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Are we going to see that separate of the box set anytime soon? And also maybe Ireland coming, like in terms of things that you're working on, things that are down the
that's
pike?
the first one first. So individual record sales aren't really out there, right?
Right.
People do them for albums. They do it for albums, like artwork and
Can
stuff,
I
right?
cheat you just
Yes,
this way? Towards the camera there,
Yes,
just
sir.
a little bit. Yep.
And so,
Yep.
so I don't know when it'll eventually come out on its own. But right now it's sitting in the box. And then as far as Ireland, I'm getting to see the pieces. We're working on it a week from Sunday, too. So it's still in the evolution stages. I can tell you this, when you talk about how sweet it was, top tier stuff, comeback stuff, I'm going to put this up against anything we've ever shot, even over Central Park. When you see it, you're not going to believe it. I can't believe it when I see it.
Well, we were at opening night, so that was just phenomenal as it was, but I heard it just kept getting better
Oh my
as
gosh,
it
yes.
went. But speaking of the box set, I know the plan in '98 wasn't necessarily to do a trilogy of them, but what does that mean for potential future albums since this is the last one?
I don't know. The whole thing of what albums are now and how music is served, I'm not sure the album is in the future, right, of any artist. So I think right now what you want to do is just want to watch technology, see how people are or how they're digesting music, and then we'll figure it out from there.
And then one last one. I mean, the most dive bar thing about this place is this awesome floor.
I love this.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, this makes it look like it's been here for 30, 40
Isn't
years.
that great? And they just put it down like a week or two ago. And I said,
wow.
can you make it look like it's been here forever? So
Yeah,
it's
it
great.
looks awesome. But one thing you didn't mention, and maybe you can't yet, is Miss Yearwood's section of the bar.
Yeah, that's grand opening. That's all in the future. Right now, this was everything to do just to get this open by Black Friday.
Yeah.
Hers is still pretty much just construction side.
Well,
Yeah.
she has needed her. We just did Reba's place out in Atoka.
Okay.
And we were sitting there talking, and we said, we're so glad that Trisha gets a place to do her recipes and do all that stuff.
just the start. Yes.
What are you looking forward to that part of it that you can speak with?
I think just like anything, my favorite thing to do is introduce her to anybody.
Yeah.
So introducing anything she does to everybody, I think that's my favorite place. She's just classy.
We got a wrap. So since Merry Christmas means I love you, and
Yeah.
this is for you. And
Thank
Miss
you very much.
Yearwood in
There's a
there,
little thing in there too for Miss Yearwood.
Okay,
Yes.
very sweet.
and a
Thank
card.
you. Oh,
I couldn't
Yeah,
bring.
know me so
I
well.
couldn't
Yes.
bring Dr. Pepper on the plane, so
Yes.
We-
Guys, this is the last thing I need, the first thing I want. It's great.
Stop it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Garth.
Very much.
as we're here at Friends in Low Places, we have a couple of other special guests that
Some
you
new friends, as it were.
possibly have heard their voices. The first is Natalie Cox. She is now a personality on the Big 615, and we're going to talk to her.
And you're going to hear a little bit from Blake Carter, who is the voice of the Garth channel. And she made the jump from the previous iteration of the Garth channel to Garth called her personally. And now she's at TuneIn and the Big Seven network, the Sevens network, and the Garth channel. So here are those two chats.
Natalie Cox from the Big 615, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, with TuneIn.
Tell us about that.
So the Big 615 obviously is one of Garth's babies that he's doing with TuneIn, and it's a fantastic, radio stream. It's a global country music station, which is just, it blows my mind that literally like wherever you are in the world, you can try to tune in and listen to the same music. If you're in Switzerland, that somebody's listening to in, Argentina. It's just incredible, and I'm very, very fortunate that Stormy Warren does a show on there, and then they asked me to come on board and do a bit for them as well. So yeah, I do Monday to Fridays on the Big 615.
Very
So,
cool.
is there a certain time that, at least in America, we can hear you?
Yes, I'm on from 1 p.m. till 7 p.m. Central Time, Mondays to Fridays.
And how does country music translate overseas in Europe? How does that, Garth talks all the time about it making the leap. Are the stories really as universal as we like to think?
It really is. I can assure you, as you can tell from my accent, I'm
Yeah.
not from Alabama.
Of course.
I am actually from the UK. And I grew up as a country music fan, and I grew up listening to the greats and Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and all that. And country music, especially in the UK, is one of the fastest growing genres, and it's incredible to see over the space of sort of 10 years really how much it's come on. We've got one of the biggest country music festivals in the UK called C2C. We have, that's the biggest country music festival actually in Europe, I think it is. We've got various radio stations and things like that now. It's just incredible to see the growth of country music over there. I think music is universal anyway, right? We all know that. Everybody loves music, but I think country music just speaks to people about, it's that freedom, it's that love of the open road, it's that kind of the dream, and I think that's what country music brings to people worldwide.
Yeah, we had an awesome opportunity last year. We went and saw opening night in Ireland, and we made like a little European trip out of it. Went to the UK, or went to London, and then ended in Paris for like 24 hours, flew back home. And I had no clue country music was that big.
Right? It's funny, isn't it? It's like when I tell people that I work in country music and they're like, but you're British. How is that possible? Aren't you supposed to like the Beatles and Oasis, and that's about it? But it's got quite a following there. And what's really nice is to see how it brings people together. You know, Garth talks a lot about community and country music being a community. And it really is. It's like, you know, the love of country music unites people, I think. So it doesn't really matter which country you're from, you know, as long as if you can sing the words to Friends in Low Places, you've got friends, you know, for life with the people standing next to you, right?
If you can, it's all along here.
There you go. It's in the bar. So
are you based here now, or are you just here for a little bit and then you're going back?
No, I sort of split my time between the UK and America, yeah.
Very cool.
Which is very nice
Well,
for
you
me.
can hear Natalie Cox on TuneIn on the Big 615, and it sounds like big things are happening. Thank you for coming and sharing your love with country music with us.
No worries. Thanks for having a chat with me.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. We are back with
The
voice of the Garth channel.
Yep.
And
that made me sound really cool. The two of you guys sang at the same
Awesome.
time. I like that. Thank you.
I got Sirius XM again when Garth channel launched.
Okay.
And I'm like, who is that voice? That is like really sexy voice.
Oh, sexy. Okay. And doesn't sound American. Could you
Really?
could you
It does.
tell the accent?
No, I couldn't actually.
Because I'm Canadian.
I
so
hope that doesn't offend you, but no.
No. Okay. No, that's fine.
Say about. No, you got
I
it.
know. I don't think I don't think I have a thick Canadian accent,
No,
which is probably
you
why
said
it worked.
something earlier I could tell.
Really? You could pick up on
the
it?
T,
Okay.
Yeah, the out. Yeah, I could tell, but
But are you
no.
French Canadian?
No.
Okay.
That's probably why.
Right.
Okay, there you go.
So, you said something earlier that I think needs to resonate with a lot of people in media, and I hope some people in media are watching this. Even though you were doing the Garth channel, you had another gig, and then when that gig went away, you were doing a bunch of gigs. Just because you have a tent pole gig with a big name attached to it doesn't necessarily mean you don't need to do anything else.
Nothing
in
is
this.
guaranteed. I think that's been my biggest lesson just as an adult and
Yeah.
working in media especially. You have to always have your next thing ready to go. And just life. The cost of life is expensive, you know?
Yeah.
So just always having a side gig, a side hustle, something else. So yeah, I was doing like a morning radio show, and I also did voiceover work, and then I also hosted events and did some social media stuff, which saved me when I lost my main gig because I had all these other things, and then you keep up all those different connections. So
That's really cool.
Now, are you? I know you're program director now, and you're still the voice of the Garth channel. Are you based in Nashville now?
I am not yet. That's my plan. My goal is to get out here. I've been living in Toronto the past 12 years doing radio, but I recently kind of just packed up and moved. I've been working with Johnny Josno, who's the program director of Tailgate, our second station that we launched, and I've been working alongside with him to get this channel launched. But now that we're launched, I'm ready to come. So,
And it's broadcasting in this building, right?
yeah, it's right up. It's going to be right up there.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. So they get to look down at everybody, and will you be based working in this building pretty much?
I will be here sometimes, but what's really cool about being online and being an app and being global is that you can basically do anything anywhere you want to be.
Love it.
Yeah, we host a podcast, and he's in DC, I'm in Bakersfield, so we usually, do it remotely, and when we can do these things in person, it's great.
Yeah, it's cool. That's what's been exciting coming out here for the different launches, and especially for this launch, obviously, but getting to check it out. And now that we have an actual studio here, I'll be out here a lot more. And then fingers crossed, I get my visa to move out here.
There you go.
Very cool.
So, one thing before we let you go, what are you looking forward most to working full-time now with Garth and TuneIn?
I think it's because I've been working in terrestrial radio for so long. There's so many different rules and regulations. You can't do this, you can't do that. They're always telling. I feel like the answer to things is always it can't be done.
Right.
Whereas when we came with Garth and then TuneIn, like together, there's nothing we can't do. Like truly, there are no rules, and if there are, we break them. And they really let you actually try your ideas. You know, like when they say, "Oh no, there's no bad ideas," and they say that to you, and then you come with ideas and they're like, that's not happening. Whereas here, they really do let us be creative. And so I'm excited about that.
Well, I could say Garth has been a rule breaker from day one, and I love it. That's why I think I've kind of followed him since, 91. And when I was into rock, my aunt got me into country through him. And it's just been full force since because of just the way he does his career. So I think you're in good hands.
And I think that's what's great about Garth is that, like, he crosses over genres. Like you don't, and I just came, my last full-time morning show job was hip hop. So I've worked in hip hop radio, I've worked in pop radio. I'm like a country fan, rock fan as well. And that's also what's great about the Garth channel because we have every genre. It's Garth's personal playlist. So if he likes it, it's on the station.
and
awesome.
he's hands-on in everything he does. So.
Yes. Oh, he's picked every single piece of music, every piece of imaging audio you're going to hear on that. Like he didn't just, put his name on this and like pretend to be a part of it. Like
Right.
he is fully part of this station. It's truly his channel.
And then you have to take that and turn it into a playlist.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we probably have the biggest playlist in radio. Like he wanted to get to 5,000 songs and like we're almost there. That's insane.
That's awesome.
So that's also what's cool about the channel, because you're not going to be hearing like the repeats of stuff that you would typically hear on terrestrial, because we have such a big catalog. There's so much stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wonderful. Blake, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we got another treat for you before we head out for holiday plans and head to NFR in December. We got to visit the Country Music Hall of Fame again while we're in town. Special thanks to everybody there that made that happen. They got some great new exhibits going on.
Eric Church and
Patty Loveless and the Western one where I got to cover in L.A.
Yes, but I haven't been into the museum since they opened it. So without further ado, here's the latest from our friends at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. 2023 Country Music Hall of Fame inductee Patty Loveless is the featured spotlight on the top floor when you first get off the elevator. Patty Loveless, No Trouble with the Truth, explores the influential career and enduring music of Patty Loveless from her distinctive start in the 1980s through her #1 hits of the 1990s. The exhibit features stageware, tour memorabilia, manuscripts, set lists, instruments, photographs, videos, posters, advertising pamphlets, and so much more. It is great to see this icon finally getting her due. The exhibit has been extended due to fan demand, and let me tell you, reading the posters that they have as part of the exhibit, I learned a lot about this legend I never knew. Eric Church, Country Heart, Restless Soul, presented by Gibson, chronicles Church's unique path to stardom, from playing late-night gigs in bars and writing songs in Nashville to his prominence as one of country music's most authentic voices and notorious rule breakers. Fitting for Eric, a larger-than-life personality and a larger-than-life exhibit, which features his signature sunglasses and hat from the Chief album cover, stage-worn clothing, and a sculpture made from vinyl records that replicates the sound wave of his recording of one of my personal favorite songs, Record Year, among many other artifacts. Western Edge, the roots and reverberations of Los Angeles country rock, is the main exhibit on the second floor. It traces the Los Angeles-based communities of visionary singers, songwriters, and musicians who, between the 1960s and the 1980s, frequented local nightclubs, embraced country music, created and shaped the musical fusion country rock, and ultimately made a lasting impact on popular music. We're talking the Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, the Flying Burrito Brothers, Poco, Eagles, Emmylou Harris, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Linda Ronstadt, and many others who in the 60s and 70s found commercial success with new sounds that merged rock and roll rhythms and attitude with country and bluegrass instrumentation, melodies, and harmonies. Now, all three of these exhibits are free with admission to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. So, buddy, as we wrap 2023, I mean, we'll see y'all in Vegas for NFR, but as we get into holiday season, what are you most thankful for this year?
I have to say your craziness leading me to travel. I know I keep saying
he complains about the most.
I know I keep saying I'm going to reevaluate my friend group after this year ends, but that's all in fun. Yes, we get to do this. The website's grown. Everyone who's involved, everybody that has invited us out to things, everything. I mean, this city is special in many ways, and it's great. What about you?
I am thankful that I think we're both achieving dreams in a certain way.
Yeah.
Getting to come down here, getting to cover stuff. We put our lives on the page for you guys, and I think by the time this airs, I'll be close to 100 concerts this year. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands miles.
There are artists who don't get that far a year in performing,
yeah.
And you're here traveling the country this year, globe last year. just seeing every show you can.
But-
What is your goal for next year regarding that? Are
To
you gonna
chill out.
Okay, I was about to ask. Are you going to try to hit 101?
Yeah.
Takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to hit 101, but we'll see if I even hit 100 this year. So that's it for now. We will see you in Vegas at NFR. I'll have the cowboy hat like usual. For the Music Universe, I'm Matt Bailey.
And I'm Buddy Yon. Thanks for listening and watching. Be sure to check us out at themusicuniverse.com and like, subscribe, and share at The Music Uni on socials. Take care.